Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video. Today we ended up packing an icon from a draft, guys. I know, it's crazy. We actually got an icon from a draft. But get this, guys. It's really funny circumstances actually because we won 6 drafts in a row and we got that reward that gives you 2 rare gold packs and 1 gold pack. And it was driving me nuts because we never got good player. Well, we did get man of the match Matic in all fairness, but those packs in general usually don't really give you really good players. But at the same time, they do give you players that you can use towards the SBCs, right? So I was getting really disappointed. The one final gameplay was lagging like crazy and everything, and I lost, and it just annoyed me. But it was so funny because you're gonna see the reaction of me just being super annoyed, and then when I open the pack, I just laugh because it's so funny that I got an icon from losing in the draft final after winning it so many times. But I'm super happy that I got it. If you guys want to just check that out at the end of the video, be sure to do so. If you guys want to watch the rest of the video in order for me to answer questions that you guys usually leave in the comment section down below, be sure to check that out as well. If you guys have any more questions that you guys want me to answer for the next video or for videos in the future, again, be sure to leave a comment section. Be sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let's get started with the video. All right, let me do that. Baby Zanetti or Jordi Alba? Okay, so let me check out. So Baby Zanetti's card is actually a decent card. It's not bad at all. My thing is, though, is that with Zanetti's baby card, he prefers to use his right foot more than his left foot. So the nice thing about the fullbacks is being able to pass on the outside area with the outside foot and having curve on the pass, right? But the 4-star weak foot could definitely help with him actually doing decent passes because he has 87 short passing with 85 long passing. Now, if you're making the comparison between a Jordi Alba and a Zanetti, I would probably get a Jordi Alba in your team since you're going to be saving a lot of money for your squads in general. Because Jordi Alba is a type of player that's cheaper and he's actually a very solid left back in general. I really do enjoy using him on my PlayStation squad. And I do have Zanetti as well, and Zanetti is pretty decent, but I think I prefer to go with Jordi Alba in terms of the price that you have for the player and the quality of player that you're getting. I've got the 91 De Gea untradeable, and he's been shit this weekend league. He's been letting everything in his piss, and he's pissing me laughing out, so I want to discard him. I wouldn't recommend using the better versions of De Gea's cards because even when I use him in draft, he seems to be very weird. His rare gold card seems to be the best version of his card. Like even the Team of the Year De Gea card, just he does a lot of weird things at times, right? Like you can tell the way that he dives. It's like it's almost as if like he's letting the ball go in. It's very weird, right? I would definitely stick with the regular version of De Gea. I wouldn't really even touch the informs. Although I have used the 93 inform card, and the 93 inform card does play pretty decently. So that's all I would say to that. Really like this kind of video. Would be fun to see if you can build some meta/weekend league squads for different budgets and just give some advice with those teams. Yeah, the thing is that like right now I'm not playing foot champs too much, so me making those squads wouldn't really make much sense to do. But at the same time, I think people would actually enjoy them. But I feel like this video was an example of the type of teams that people can make and have fun with. So I guess you're right. Maybe I could do just more squad building videos in general and just making some unique teams that people can actually use in Division 1 or in foot champs and just have fun with the game, right? So I could definitely look into doing all of that for sure, dude. What team do you support? I support FC Porto and Liverpool, but FC Porto is my main squad. Liverpool is my second squeeze, you know? I didn't know you spoke Portuguese. Yes, I'm Portuguese. I'm fully Portuguese. Well, I don't know if I'm fully Portuguese because our ancestors can go way back into whatever country people are from, right? But as far as I know, my parents are both Portuguese. I just live in Canada, so yeah. How can I change a team? That's the team one as well. Make video on team you're rocking right now. I don't actually have a team right now. Like I don't have like an amazing team on my Xbox account. I've been actually playing a lot of drafts, and the team that I have right now is just a bunch of untradeable cool cards, but not necessarily like a specific squad. Like I don't really have like a specific team. I don't have like the prime Ronaldinho's or the team of the year Ronaldo's or anything like that. I just have cards from draft that I play with because they give me the players and then I just use them, right? Like every time I get prime Ronaldinho or prime Maradona, they're really, really fun cards to use. But it just doesn't make sense for me to improve my squad if I don't really play FUT Champs that much. And playing FUT Champs doesn't really mean much because I don't even play divisions during the weekdays anyway. So it doesn't really make much sense to do all that. Let's see what else we got going on here. Insert predictable squad. The squads that I made for the video, the last video, weren't that predictable. Like that Bundesliga squad was very unique. The only one that was very predictable was the first team, so that's probably the first team that you watched and just kind of like gave the comment like that. But I do make different teams to have fun with, but still have some sort of meta in it, but not full meta, right? So you got to have fun with the game sometimes. Sometimes using players like Sherla or Batshuayi or Royce, like, are just, they're fun cards to use, right? Like the Royce card looks amazing. He looks like he would be an incredible cam to use. So I would definitely recommend trying it out for sure. The SBC makes it worth it. In regards to the prime Ronaldo, Hullet, and Maldini, yeah, like everyone sees it differently, right? Like for me personally, since the cards are untradeable, I mean, to be fair, the cards are very good, but if you want to sell your players, you can't do that. So I base it off of that general knowledge of not being able to sell the players as to why I don't think that most of them are worth it. But in-game quality-wise, yes, they're amazing. Hullet's really good, Ronaldo's really good, and so is Maldini. They're very, very, very good players. Like, especially Maldini. I was using Maldini the other day, and defensively, like I said in the other video, he just moves left and right very smoothly, which is why I like him so much. How much better is the OTW inform Neymar than his normal, and is he worth the extra coins? Oh, dude, the higher ups of Neymar those cards are significantly better than his rare gold cards. Like just the regular rare gold card is it doesn't even touch his like team of the group stage or even the 95. The 95 is a ridiculous card. It's really good. He's so fast at doing everything. His skill moves are quick. He's so quick on the ball. Way better than his rare gold card, 100%. The only difference of cards that you really don't notice a huge difference is like a Ronaldo, because it's weird. Like when you get Ronaldo's first version of his card and then you get his card that's like 3 or 4 ratings higher, you don't notice a difference, again, because his stats are already very good. So it doesn't really make much sense for you to buy an upgraded version of Ronaldo unless you're doing it for a position change, because he does have striker cards, he does have cam cards. So position change wise, it would make sense, but the regular one will do the job well enough, in my opinion. At this stage in the game, who are the best non-icon players in attack, midfield, and defense? At this stage of the game, if you're talking about non-icon players, you can go with a pretty typical squad. So if you're using a 4-1-2-2 or a 4-2-3-1, whatever it is you're going to be using, you can go with Valencia, Bailly, De Gea, Boateng, Alaba, Vidal, Conte, Pogba, Martial, Willian, Gabriel Jesus. That's like the pretty typical one that you can do. If you don't want to use Pogba, you can just use like any EPL center mid that you think would work out really well. Like if Pogba's too expensive for you, you can even try out using like Herrera. Herrera would be a decent card because attacking and defensive wise, he's decent. He's not that great nowadays, but if you're talking about cards that are non-icon cards, EPL is usually the best team to go with, in my opinion, because they just offer the most. Maldini is the only prime worth doing. I mean, dude, I used that 96 Ronaldo card once, and it was actually like a cheat code to use that card because he's so strong. He's so good at everything. So, I don't know, man. It's tough to say whether something is worth it or not, but Hullet, Maldini, and Ronaldo are very good players. I never tried a second last version of their cards, but in a general sense, they're very good cards to use for sure. More of these videos, good job. The analyzing videos might get to a certain point of just oversaturation, which is why I try to create different content on my channel consistently. I do the best that I can under the circumstances, because FIFA doesn't, EA hasn't really added anything to this game. Like, they're not really on top of it like a game like Fortnite. Like, Fortnite has always keeps it fresh with adding new innovating ideas in their game, and then FIFA, like, we still have the cool SBCs that they left with the 82s to 84s and whatnot, so on and so forth, with the icon, baby icon SBC. But in a general sense, the content isn't really there right now, so it's really hard to figure out stuff to do with FIFA consistently. You always mention mate the saving leg save trait. I checked on Footbin, De Gea, long thrower, and Farman up for corners. Oh, goes up for corners. Where should I look for the saving legs trait? Which site or really game eventually? So you have to go on a website called SoFIFA. SoFIFA is the website that actually tells you which goalies have the leg save trait. So if you go on that website, goalies like De Gea, Begovic, Ter Stegen. Ter Stegen's actually a pretty good goalkeeper in this game because he has the leg save trait. So if you get like Ter Stegen's 89 version of his card, he actually plays quite decently in the game because of that leg save trait. I was trying to use like a Kasper Schmeichel earlier today, and it was like his inform version. I think it was the last inform version that he has, and he just didn't really play that well for me. He didn't do the work that I feel like he should have been doing in a team, right? He wasn't offering anything. James Rodriguez took a right-footed shot, and it was so weak and slow, and it still went through Schmeichel's leg. So that leg save trait makes a huge difference as to whether or not a player in the goalkeeping position plays good or bad, in my honest opinion. Hullet is completely worth it if you did the SBC. It won't be a better center mid at team of the season. You can easily do him for 2.3 million after packs. Like I said, very, very situational with cards. Everyone thinks differently with whether the cards are worth it or not. They're really good cards. Like, I've tried out Hullet and Maldini in drafts, and they're amazing. The moment I get to have a Ronaldo or a prime Ronaldo in draft, like, that's when I'm going to really feel the power. I wonder what it's actually like to have a Team of the Year Ronaldo and a prime Ronaldo in the same team. Like, that wouldn't really be fair because they would be so good in the game for sure. What else we got here? Yo, Inception, which formation and custom taxes for just the offline kickoff beat friends? For offline? I have videos of my tactics and instructions that I use for different formations, but I'm always changing my tactics and instructions. I've never been consistent with those specific things, like custom tactics instructions. I've just never been consistent with those things. I've always changed it because FIFA is the type of game where, like, there's a game style that you'll be playing and then you'll be like, oh wow, this game style kind of sucks, and you want to switch it up a little bit. So I'm always switching it up to keep it fresh for myself. I like these advices, man. Are you a pro player? I'm not a pro player. I just play the game for fun, but I feel like I'm decent enough to help you guys get better at the game and understand the ins and outs of the game and what makes it good and what makes it bad. So I just like creating YouTube content, man. There's nothing more or less to it, you know what I mean? In Division 2, I've been holding for 3 seasons, but I can't get into FUT Champs. It could be a cause of caliber of team I have. If you're in Division 2, to qualify for FUT Champs, I believe you need to get promoted to Division 1. I think promotion gives you qualification to FUT Champs, and if you get to Division 1, it's just remain Division 1 and getting and winning the title in Division 1. If you can't qualify through Division 2, it's not really worth playing FUT Champs for you, in my opinion, because if you can't even qualify, you're not going to have a good time when you actually have to play the game mode, right? Because there's going to be a ton of people that are going to be very annoying to play against, especially since if you're talking about the team caliber, people's team caliber is disgusting. Like, your first game, you'll notice you'll come up against someone who has an absolute god squad. Like, it's like half a year into the game already, so that's kind of why it's already like that in FUT Champs, and it makes sense because people consistently grind FUT Champs and they get these really sick teams. So if you can't qualify through getting promoted from Division 1 or holding Division, or qualifying or getting promoted from Division 2 or holding Division 1 or winning it, it's not really going to be a good time for you anyways. It's not going to be worth your time in general. It's better to actually just trade in the game because that's where you make the most profit, in my opinion. Great video. I only disagree in Maldini being worth and Hullet not. For me, Hullet, like I said, guys, I feel like people misconceive how I say a person is not worth it. All three of them are good players. It's just not worth getting the Hullet because the second last version of Hullet is already very good. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why. But I only disagree in Maldini being worth and Hullet not. For me, Hullet is a great value for being all-rounder. That versatility is a great thing to have when you're in trouble in a match. And Maldini for the price, I would go with Ferdinand or Team of the Year Ramos. But like I said, it's a comparison to the second last version of the card. Like when I'm comparing the cards, it's comparing to the second last version. The second last version of the card is already a very solid card. So that's what I kind of go off of, right? Like that's what I was comparing. I was comparing the prime version to the second last version because I feel like that's the best way for people to see whether a card is good or bad to use in their teams. Should I replace... Oh, let me read the comments that reply to you. But it's a comparison to 90 Hullet. Compared to the 93 Hullet isn't worth it. I have used 90 Hullet for 700 games and have no desire to get the 93. The 93 has worse agility and pace, and most of the rest of the stats aren't even really that noticeable. Example, no one can really claim to notice the difference between 92 and 94 long passing. Exactly. That guy responded perfectly in regards to that comment. Should I replace Conte and Pogba for Bakayoko and Herrera to strengthen my squad elsewhere? Should you replace Conte and Pogba for Bakayoko and Herrera? Bakayoko's good, Herrera's garbage. So, like, I recommend Herrera for a beginner squad, but after a while, Herrera's not that great. But because the thing that I always tell people is that if you're being competitive in FIFA, the thing that allows you to win games in FIFA is having a stronger midfield than a stronger attack. Because attack, you can get some cheap players and you can still be able to build up the play and score some goals. But with a strong midfield, those are the guys that are going to be making those defensive AI blocks for you. They're going to be tall to win the 50-50s in the air. Like if you can get like Patrick Vieira and Ruud Gullit as your center defensive mids, that makes a big difference to your gameplay because there's a lot of things that they do that you weren't able to do before. So I would focus on improving your midfield more than your attack because your attack you can still do if you're decent at attacking, right? Like you can get an attack that has like Griezmann, Mbappe, and Neymar as a front three in a two-striker formation with a cam, and those guys will still play very, very well for you, in my opinion. Why are you comparing 90 Hullet to 93 tradable Hullet? Almost everyone is going to get a Hullet 93 will do the SBC, which is currently a little over 2.5 mil. For 500k to 1 mil more, it is surely worth upgrading. Because you're comparing a card that you can sell to a card that you can't sell. So if you can sell a second last version of the card, that's more ideal to do. Because if you just want to switch up your team... Like I said, I feel like some people, when they're commenting these types of things, they're not listening to the video because you're getting a player that's untradeable compared to a player that is tradable. If you want to be able to sell the card, you can do that, right? That's the difference. I don't think the traits mean anything. They do. A player gets them when they have specific stats. They get the trait. Poacher, for example, the attacking work rate needs to be low or medium, as a high attacking work rate makes the player ineligible. The defensive work rate doesn't affect the speciality. The player also needs heading is 75 and finishing to gain his speciality trait. That's completely down to that's like completely speculative. That's not really how it actually works. If you play the game, man, and you have a finesse shot trait on someone and someone doesn't have a finesse shot trait, you can look at any player that has good long shots, good shot power in general, that don't have long shot traits, or the finesse shot trait. They just don't take as good 90-degree angle finesse shots as someone that actually does have that as a trait with similar shooting stats in general. So yeah. I just got Hullet 93 and played with him 3 games. I dealt that 90 is better, right? It's not that 90 is better than 93. It's not about that. It's whether or not it's worth getting the card. The 90 will do the job for you, and it's a tradable card that you can sell. That's the thing that I always tell people. If you're not selling the card and you want to spend another 500k for stat increases that are pretty insignificant, like between a second last version of Hullet and a prime version of Hullet, then by all means be my guest, get the card, because it's still an amazing card. Like I use the card, I know how good it is, but I just think that a 90 Hullet will still get the job done, in my opinion. Nice vid. Miranda, not even for a Calcio 8 team, in my opinion. Miranda's weird because Miranda, like... So if you actually look at Miranda's stats, right? Miranda's physical is low, not because of his actual physical capabilities. It's low because of his stamina. So Miranda is actually a decent card to have in the game. The thing about Miranda is the lack of balance, agility, acceleration, and sprint speed altogether, right? They don't have a good balance between each other, which is why I wouldn't recommend using Miranda in a team. But if you want to have fun with a team, then using Miranda would be a fun player to use for sure. That's what I would say to that. How can I improve passing? I have most of the time 80 to 85%. For you to improve passing, it's just practice with the game, man. The more you practice with the game, like, it's all about like holding L trigger and facing the general area of where you want to pass. So like if you're facing this general area, you want to be able to have an aerial view like this, right? This area, you will pass the ball more consistently. But if you're facing this way and you want to pass the ball that way, it's gonna be less consistent because you're not facing the general area of where you want to pass the ball. What do you think of Azpilicueta? I love him, but people are put off by his height, and they shouldn't be. People will always talk about his height because his height, specifically for those like really hardcore games that you're playing, he's not good enough. His right back card is not good enough to defend against someone like Ronaldo or Thierry Henry. It's those hardcore games that we're talking about. But if you want to use a right back as Azpilicueta and you want to have fun with the card and just screw around with him, he's a fun card to use, man. Like, no doubt, he's a great card to use. But he's not ideal to use full meta wise. That height will always play into effect when you're facing these really strong players in the air. That Prime R9 is a cheat code for real. Yeah, he looks like an absolute cheat code for sure. How do you recommend to get coins? Can never get enough coins. I don't have any recommendations for coins, man, because me getting coins is strictly based off of me just doing gameplay. All I do is just play games to get my coins. Like if I'm playing drafts, I don't really expect to make money back, although I got a pretty sick legend in this draft, but I still wasted way more money than I made back. Playing divisions is a good way to make coins. Squad battles, if you're doing gameplay, squad battles is better to do than draft or season. So you might as well do squad battles if you actually want to make coins back. Martial with Hawk or Hunter. I think with Martial's card, I always added a Hunter chemistry style on him because I think for me personally, I would have just preferred that on his card. I don't think he would need Hawk on his card because I didn't notice an increase in his dribbling. Or no, not. I don't think Hawk is dribbling. What does Hawk give a player again? Let me check this actually. So I'm gonna put in Ronaldo. I think Hawk gives them physical as well. I think it's physical, shooting, and pace or something. So chemistry style. If you put Hawk on a player, Hawk gives them. It gives them pace and physical. Pace and physical. Is that right? Is it only pace and physical? Oh no, pace, physical, and shooting. Yeah. I was doing it on the team of the year Ronaldo, so it wasn't showing me properly. But would Martial benefit more with physical? I don't know, not really. Like you wouldn't notice it that much, in my opinion. But yeah, I think Hunter would be more ideal. You wanna be able to increase the shooting as much as possible because he has, I believe he has like 79 composure if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna go search up his card right now actually. So Martial's card, Morata has an inform card. Wow. So Martial's card has 83 finishing with 78 composure, so that's actually worse. So increasing his finishing stats as much as possible would definitely be more ideal. And when you're using the card, you notice that his pace, the pace part of his card is the best part of about the card. Like the way he dribbles on the ball with the pace is quite decent for the price that you're paying for the card. He's only 10k, and for 10k, you're definitely getting a lot in terms of quality for the card. Any suggestions on how to play well when under pressure? when you say under pressure, do you mean that someone is putting a lot of pressure on you defensively? If they do that on you, man, the thing that I always explain to people is just being patient, right? Like, you have to be very calm in the situation. When you're calm, you can actually build up the play better, because since they're overcommitting with players, you have more space to work with in the middle, right? And it'll be better for you to tell your players to get in behind, so that when they do that, you can actually exploit the space that someone is overcommitting with, right? So, yeah. Does Chem Styles even work? Chem Styles work, in my opinion, because the card that I always bring up to people is, so I use like a Willian card, right? So I think it was the inform version of Willian's card, and his shooting wasn't completely high up. But when I put a chemistry style on of pace and shooting on his card, he was significantly improved, right, in the shooting department, and it was very noticeable for me. So I would definitely say that it's very important for you to put a chemistry style on your card, but I wouldn't expect it to be improved by that much as these websites claim it to be, in my opinion. What other questions we got here? Hey, could you please name the most meta midfielders, mid-budget? Best wishes, mate. There's not really that many good mid-wage midfielders. Now, I don't know what your definition of mid-wage is. That could be like 200k, that could be 100k, that could be 50k, that could be 10k. There's a lot of decent center mids. Like, there's typical players like Nangalin, Pogba, Herrera, Milinkovic, Savic. Like, people like all those players, but the list can go on, in my opinion. Stegen 89 is the best goalkeeper for me. I use him. Stegen, again, like, every time I've gotten him in the draft and there's like a team that kind of revolves around either Barcelona or even like French because of Umtiti, right? Being able to put Ter Stegen in the net definitely helps out a bit, in my opinion. What else we got here? When is the best time to do the offside trap? So people usually ask me about the offside trap in terms of the timing of when I use it. So when I do the offside trap, I use it when I'm attacking. When I'm like I wouldn't say all the time, but I use it when I'm attacking like midway past the opposition's half of the field, right? The reason why I do the offside trap is to push my midfielders and my defenders higher, to put more pressure on the ball, and to have my midfielders support the forwards more. So if I have forwards that are making get in behind runs, if I do the offside trap, my back four will push up, making my midfielders also push up as well. So that's why I use the offside trap when I'm attacking, just so I can have that extra attacking presence with my team to move around the pitch a little bit better. If you were to put this time into FIFA every day since the start, you would have the craziest teams. Yeah, so I've been streaming like a lot of hours recently, just trying to get all that content for the YouTube channel and all that stuff. And would I have had a good team by now? Yes, but I didn't have the motivation. I didn't have the motivation to like do all that, in my opinion. You have slow center backs and they have every time at the right place. My center backs being slow, if you have slow center backs, like let's just say you're playing drafts, right? If you notice that your center backs are slow, it's actually more ideal to put your aggression and your pressure lower. Because if your pressure and aggression is higher and they're slow to aggressively try to intercept the ball back, if they miss aggressively trying to intercept the ball back, then running back with them will be a pain in the ass to do. So it's better to just make your pressure and your pressure and your aggression lower, so that they don't do that part of gameplay that often, so you can control them a little bit better. So that's what I usually do when I have slower center backs, to be able to control that general area a little bit better. Sub-Inception, I have a question. I'm Mexican and I live in Texas. For some reason, like 70% of the games are against Mexicans in Mexico, and I always have a horrible delay during those games. Is there a way to avoid countries? Lol. The only way for you to avoid playing against Mexican people if you're from Texas is to get a router that allows you to choose the general area that you're linking up with. So if you're from Texas, but you want to connect to anywhere from America to Canada, you would just put it in the, like, there, like, for instance, I have a Net Duma router. You would be able to put the general circle or the general vicinity of the area that you want to link up with, right? You could put it right in the middle of North America. Not North America, but the part of America and Canada, because Mexico is obviously part of North America, right? You would put it wherever you want, and you would just generally match up with the people in that area. You won't ever be able to do that without actually buying a router that specifically does that. So that's just kind of like how it is. What's your favorite FIFA? My favorite FIFA gameplay-wise, or just generally, I would say was FIFA 12. FIFA 12 was a game that I just genuinely had a lot of fun with. It was a balance between FIFA 12 and Call of Duty. Like, I would hop between the two because both were really solid games. I had a lot of fun playing FIFA 12. FIFA 12 was a good game for me. FIFA 13 was okay, but that's when it started to get a little bit worse, in my opinion. FIFA 12 was just an absolutely solid game. Like, there wasn't all this, like, extra mechanics that EA added to their game. It was just a really fun game to play because everything was very basic, right? The thing that kind of ruins FIFA a little bit, in my opinion, is that when you add all these extra mechanics to your players attacking-wise, that's when it makes them, in my opinion, play significantly worse, right? So I like when they don't add all these crazy, like, lunge mechanics. Like, the lunge mechanics is one of the most annoying things in gameplay, because I hate when a player does that and it puts them out of position, leaving an opening behind. Because I can't tell you guys enough how many times I concede a goal because my player does the lunge mechanic when I don't do with him. I just want to hold that general area. So it could definitely be frustrating at times, for sure. If you want to keep your health, don't play Weekend League. Should be like an advertise. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but yeah, Weekend League is just, it's not worth the stress that you put yourself through, man. Especially since for content creation, all I have to do is just be somewhat unique in the types of videos that I create, in my opinion. How is Hullet Prime really OP? I wouldn't say that Prime Hullet is really OP, but he's a lot of fun to use. Like, he actually runs better than his card suggests because he's very, I guess it's because he might have high aggression stats. Like, it may seem like that might be the reason why. So I'm actually going to search it up right now to see. Yeah, he has 87 aggression, so that actually might be a reason why he actually runs better. Well, it's not what his card suggests, because that's an actual stat that might make him run faster. It doesn't make a player run faster, it's when they're up against someone, right? So let's just say, for instance, you make a Y pass in behind someone's defense. Hullet will run faster next to someone because he wants to aggressively get the ball, right? That's what makes them faster. It's not when they're by themselves. It doesn't add to the aggression point. It's when they're next to someone that makes them more aggressive to push towards getting the ball. So I did like a Y pass earlier today with him where I passed it in behind someone's defense, and he just sprinted through and out-bodied the guy, even though he was, like, I would say, like, a meter behind the guy, because he's just really aggressive towards getting the ball back. So yeah. Do I think that Chris Smalling is a good player in this FIFA? No. In previous installments in FIFA, like, he used to have, like, an overpowered card. And it's actually funny how it works, because Chris Smalling's card is kind of like Eric Bailly's card nowadays, right? Like, so Chris Smalling, the decrease in pace and the balance and all that stuff is so incredibly noticeable in this game. In FIFA 17, he used to have an 84 version of his card, and I would say that the balance was noticeable on his card, but he still played significantly better than what he plays nowadays. He just doesn't play that well, in my opinion. I was mentioning something earlier in my stream today. I was trying out the Dybala card, and the thing about the Dybala card was I've actually noticed that the only version of his card that I actually like is the highest version of his card, which I think is a 92 version. The other versions of his cards just don't play as well. And I was looking at Dybala's stats in general, and I think it's because, like, he probably needs like some stat boost, or he needs the chemistry style to be able to play to his full potential. But I genuinely feel like if you actually use the 92 Dybala, you actually really need to put Hunter on him, because I noticed that his acceleration is fantastic, but at least when I was using the 90 card, his sprint speed, it just isn't there, right? So when I was using him as a striker. Again, acceleration is more important than sprint speed, but it's nice to have sprint speed and acceleration when you're an attacker, right? You don't want to just have one or the other. You want to have both so that you can play so that you can play to your full potential, essentially. Because I was using his 90 in a draft, and I just decided to stop using him because he just didn't really play that well for me, in my opinion. Is that Pjanic card any good, Inception? So I'm assuming the one that you were referring to is the highest version of Pjanic's card. Pjanic is interesting, actually, because whenever I get his 88th version of his card, he actually plays decently in the midfield. He's not ideal, but the 4-star 4-star definitely makes him a lot of fun to use. His defensive stats in interceptions is 77, but everything else it's pretty awful, so he won't make those standing tackles for you. He won't really make those sliding tackles for you, but he'll definitely get the job done in regards to just being a decent midfielder. Like, his passing is quite nice, his ball control is decent, not amazing, but it's decent. Like, he's just a fun card to use. So if you ever want to use him in your club and you want to have someone that has medium work rates, that's 4-star 4-star, or just to have fun with them in the midfield, I would definitely recommend Pjanic, because he's just pretty solid, man. I do enjoy using him quite a lot. Is Messi better at striker, right forward, or cam? It's situational, because Messi at striker doesn't have physical presence enough to, like, if you wanna like pass the ball off to them or lay the ball off to them, he's not very good at like really going body to body against his opposition for him to be able to like turn and take a shot and stuff. Like, he's just very good at really quickly dribbling the ball to open up the space for himself. So in regards to all of that, that's what I would say about Messi. As a right forward, he's good if you have the game style of cutting inside with him and doing a finesse shot, because cutting inside with Messi and doing a finesse shot, he's probably the most overpowered player in the game to actually do that. Maradona is very good at doing it too. Ronaldo is not even as good as Messi at doing those 90-degree finesse shots, because he has like crazy curve or something that makes his shooting absolutely unbelievable, in my opinion. Do I have any hope for FIFA 19? I mean, for the last like 3 years or 5 years of FIFA, it's been very inconsistent gameplay related, but it only takes 1 year for the game to turn really good. But do I think that they're looking into the issue for gameplay? I really don't, because nothing really suggests that they're looking into it, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the live reaction of us packing the icon that we ended up packing. I hope you guys did enjoy this video by the end of it. If you guys do enjoy it by the end of it, be sure to leave a like on the video. It definitely helps out the channel a lot, and I appreciate you guys being here. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me, bro. Oh my god. You gotta be kidding me, bro. Oh my god. Oh fuck. You cost 700K? My first legend packed. Do you guys want to hear a really funny story? Really short story. Larson was the player I packed icon-wise a year or two ago. And Larson is the player I packed again this year.